This really quickly. This is just more tips and tricks dealing with InDesign. So the first part in InDesign would be just the setup in terms of which measurements you're going to use. So in InDesign, if you go to preferences and you go to units and increments, you're going to see that here under origin, so a page, a spread, a spine, you want to click on spread. You want to make sure these are inches. Normally they're at picas. And when you do that and you create a new document, you'll notice you get picas, which aren't going to make a lot of sense to you. Picas are a measurement that designers use. They're sort of antiquated at this point. So you always have to go back and change it to inches. All right, we don't want to have to do that. So if you go to InDesign, go to preferences, you go to units and increments, you can change that spread to inches and inches. And that'll take care of that. And we'll click OK, and that'll take care of that. All right. So just like yesterday, we're going to create our new documents 4x9. And we'll talk a little bit about facing pages here. So here's a 4x9 document without facing pages. 0.25 margin, 1/4 of an inch, 2 pages, right? I hit create. Well, this is what a document without facing pages looks like. They're just down the list. All right. If I were to create a new document with facing pages and I added, let's say, 10 pages to it, this is what a document with facing pages looks like. You're dealing with spreads. All right, so I'm only showing this because by default, usually facing pages is checked. And when you're dealing with a 2-page document, all right, you can have facing pages on or facing pages off. So I hit click. If I just do facing pages 4x9, I need 2 pages. 0.25 are my margins. 0.125 is my bleed, right? And I hit create. And here's my document, and this page is just slid over here. It's not a big deal, but when you're dealing with multiple pages, magazine design, things like that, you want to be in facing pages. And in a 2-page document, you could remove the facing pages and it would work. So that's first things first, okay? Let's talk a little bit about drawing in Illustrator. Drawing in InDesign. You don't want to do it often, but if you're going to create something simple, so here's my pen tool. Let's say I wanted to create like a shape here that's going to be sort of a piece of the background. I can, just like I can in Illustrator, create my pen tool, and then maybe I want to just go and sort of arc something here, and you'll notice that I'm going to take my anchor point tool and click right here and come back to there and sort of create this simple little flowing arc. Okay, and just like in Illustrator, I can switch to a fill. And I can create simple shapes, all right? And that's really all you want to do. You have your frames here, ellipse, polygons, okay? You have a pencil tool where you can draw a shape, all right? And anything that you draw or create, whether it's with the pen tool or whether it's with the pencil tool, if you have it highlighted and go to File, Place, or Command-D or Control-D on a PC, you can click on any image that you want. And what's going to happen is you're going to notice it's going to put it inside there. And so it works similar to a clipping mask in Illustrator. I have the image inside here, and I can move it around, and I can also scale it. And that goes for any shape that I create. That's really all you want to do in InDesign when it comes to drawing. All right, you don't want to be sitting here illustrating something. You want to do that in Illustrator. Okay, so that's how you create shapes and sort of bring pieces in. Now, when it comes to bringing things from Illustrator, if I'm in Illustrator and I draw my little cat here, okay, isn't he wonderful? I save it as an Illustrator file, all right, onto my desktop. All right, the key here with InDesign is anything that you create, you need to make sure you keep it all in one place. If you lose it, you have to recreate it because InDesign needs it. All right, so I have my cat drawing, I create it. Now I'm going to go back here, and it's the same thing. It's just File, Place. Find my cat drawing on my desktop and place it. Drop. Because it's vector-based in Illustrator, it doesn't have a white background. It has no background unless I give it one in Illustrator. All right, so that's how you bring files in from Illustrator if you're creating something in Illustrator, which you, again, have the ability to do if you want to for this particular piece, okay? We talked yesterday about type, so we'll just kind of go over that again. You create boxes and you type, okay? Whoa, InDesign just quit on me, so that's wonderful. It's not like Illustrator where you can click type. You're basically just going to create a box, draw in the box, and then you can type within the box. That was interesting, huh? So I use my type tool, create, and I can type. Okay. Now, as you scale the box, the type will move. All right. If you scale it to a point where it's beyond, you'll get this red box here. That tells you that there's overset text. Overset text means it's beyond the box. If I hit a couple of returns and then do the same thing, you'll notice I get overset text, okay, which is kind of a problem. And so anytime you see this, you want to fix it. Pull it down, figure out, oh, there's a couple returns, let me pull those back. If you click and hold for a second, you actually get a live preview of moving things, which is kind of nice as opposed to kind of guessing where it's going. So if you just click and hold for a sec, okay. All of my justifications are over here under my paragraph. I can center, all right, I can align right. I can align full justified, I can center. You have all of these options down here, all right? So that's all there for you as well when working with justifying. To change your font, same difference. You can either highlight the box or you can highlight the type, either one, all right? And then I can go through here and I can choose my fonts. And you'll notice it'll preview on the left. You get a sample here, but it'll also preview over here, all right? So you can pick that as well. Changing your color, now you have to highlight the type, go into your swatches, and pick your colors. Okay, we covered that over there yesterday. The other thing we didn't cover is type on a path. InDesign does have the option, just like Illustrator does, to have type on a path. Just click the path, and you can begin typing. The path itself doesn't automatically go away. It shows black. So all I have to do is highlight that, and I can remove the color. Okay, I've got my stroke and I've got my fill just like I do in Illustrator. I've got my swatches just like I do in Illustrator. I've got my properties just like I do in Illustrator. So Adobe does a good job of keeping everything very similar. When it comes to your swatches, just like I have you do in Illustrator, I want you to click the first colored one, hold the Shift key, click, and then delete. That'll give you get rid of all the colors, because you're only going to want the colors that you're going to want to use. So for instance, if I want to go in here and grab the iFile logo and place it in, I want to use this blue. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and just change to a fill real quick. I'm going to grab my color picker, which is right here, eyedropper tool, and I'm going to highlight that color. If I right click, I can say add to swatches. Now, that's great because it's fast and it's simple, but you'll notice this is RGB. We don't want to be in RGB. We want to be in CMYK. All right, so we're going to double click on that, and it'll open up the swatch options. All I'm going to do is change that to a CMYK color. That's it. All right. When you start working with more advanced pieces in Illustrator and start working in PMS colors, you'll know your color builds and all that other stuff, but we'll get to that later. I don't want to overload you. All right. So that's how you kind of work in Illustrator with those several components. Again, just adding to your skill set. Tomorrow we'll talk about dealing with character styles and master page items, just to sort of add, again, to more skills. If you got any questions, let me know.